Hi all, this is a video to show how to convert a Fleischmann ICE high-speed train from analog, which this one is, to digital. Now these were made in about 1999, these sets. If you've got one, I recommend holding on to it because it is an asset which will go up and up and up in value. Looks like that. So anyway, I'm going to get out the main drive car, show you how to get into that now. Right, so there we go, that's a model. On the instructions, there's no instructions to say how to get the body off. So, to get the body off, what you've got to first do, take this screw out in the centre. Now these body shells are extremely precisely fitted, and they come apart and go back together in a precise way. If you don't follow this procedure, you'll probably end up damaging the body. Anyway, take one screw out. There you go. Centre screws out. I do recommend putting your screws on a magnetic tray so you don't lose them. Right, next part to do is to take off the nose cone. That just pulls off your fingernail. Get access to the interior coupling, which is designed to couple together when you're coupling two or more units together. That's what that's for. Then you pull off the lower cowling from underneath very carefully. Your fingernail. That holds the coupling system. Put that aside. And you'll see another screw here. The body won't come off unless you take that screw out there, so next stage, you've guessed it, you've got to unscrew that. I've never been inside one of these Zug sets before. I've actually already got a couple more of these in storage, but this one's getting the full treatment. So anyway, when you get to that stage, all you do then is pop off the front and just lifts off like that, dead easy. As you can see, that is a working pantograph. Got electrical feed there, and the switchboard for switching the pantograph is there. So there's plenty of space in here for a digital upgrade. This one's never been used, it's mint. Just hoping it's going to be fairly easy to convert. Soon find out anyway. The next stage, you want to pop out the motor. Yeah, you just carefully squeeze together the bogie and it pops out there, so you can get a nice. Desolder it now and just work on that. So that's what I'm going to do next. Just took another one of my Fleischmann trains out, ICE, which has got a digital interface, 6-pin. As you can see there. Same circuit board, it's identical. It's just a different plate on the pancake motor system. Well, that's got that type, this one's got the interface built on and slightly different printed circuit board on there. The digital version is 4452, which I was just looking at. Yeah, so first thing I'm going to do is desolder these three wires here. I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible. So the wire that connects to the left hand side of the motor, I've just left that on, cut it and joined the orange wire from the interface. Orange wire, left hand motor wire. Right hand motor wire, again I've just cut the wire and added the grey wire. Yeah, and that just goes to the interface. For the red wire, I've cut the actual blue wire that comes off the circuit board here. I've cut that and join your red wire to it from the decoder interface, and then take another cable from there and take it to the lower pickup feed down below. So the lower pickup feed, I know this is a black cable, then that joins to the red cable and the blue cable. The blue cable just goes to the original circuit point, board point, and that gets your feed from the front bogies when you do that. Without that you won't get the feed from the front bogie system. This blue wire here, which connects to around that area, just bear with me. That blue wire coming out there, you don't need that, just pull that off and cut it off. That's not needed. Make sure the interface for the overhead pantograph is in the correct position as well when you're doing this. Just follow instructions for that, but you basically want the dimples at 12 and 6 o'clock. Looking at the screen now. And that's it really. Obviously made a cut to the pancake motor system there where that screw is. You've got to isolate that. Right, for the front lights, because there's only a front set of lights on this and it's conventional bulbs, which can be changed over to LEDs at some point, but for now you want to desolder that blue cable there and then add a yellow cable to this one directly to this area and a white cable to this one and bring them back to the decoder interface, and that's all you've got to do for the lighting. Desoldering the cable from this board, you need to put it on a high volt heat setting on the soldering gun, because it takes a lot of heat to get that off, and then just run a blade through the slot to make sure they're isolated, because those two are joined together, those two terminals. Yeah, as you can see, I've just soldered on the wires onto the board, brought them through, and now I'm just going to join them on, because I cut them a bit short, so I'm just going to join them onto the decoder interface now. That's straightforward, that. Yeah, so the yellow and white are taken straight back to the interface or the decoder, directly wired. And you can see that works fine. Takes a negative earth through the chassis for the bulbs, so that's fine, no problem there. So that's it, it's all done, converted. I've got the DCC 8-pin interface for if I want to put sound on in the future. Just got to tie the wires up. I've put a lens chip in, the blue common cable, and I will link that to the green auxiliary wire on the interface to put a cab light, switchable cab light in the cockpit, in the driver's cab rather. Locos with metal chassis, make sure you insulate the chip or put a barrier like that, a sponge between the chip and the actual chassis, otherwise you'll blow the chip. If that happens, it's not under guarantee, because that's negligence through the installer. Just to watch that. That's happened to me about 3 or 4 times. I've blown chips through touching it on the chassis. And I'm talking sound chips. I must have blown about £400 or £500 worth of sound chips up to now. But that's how I learn, the hard way. And when you're putting back one of these models, they have extremely delicate, flexible cowling, sort of flexible body parts here, which flex very easy. You've got to make sure they line up nice when you're putting it back, the body, and also line this up and get that lower cowling in perfect. It's quite tricky to put these back if you've not done one before. Just take your time. And remember, when you're putting the screw in back in to hold the body on, that doesn't snag any cables on the inside when you're screwing it up tight. Another point is on models when you're changing over to digital is to make sure you tone down the voltage on the lights so not to melt any plastic bodies. Either that or change over to LEDs. That's just another point. Thing to do is just to oil it, because this has been sat in a box in a shop window actually for 15 years in Germany. I'm just going to give it a little drop of oil on the gearing and the axles. Just by using this pin, which is a Fleischmann. Good thing with this, you can't put too much on. You're just dipping a metal rod into the oil. And like I say, I'll just run it in. Yep, all up and running. The idea is to run at about 1/3 speed or whatever for about 30 minutes in each direction is what they recommend in the manufacturer's specifications. But to bed in the gears and the pickups. So that's it, that's a successful conversion which is done, capable of easily fitting sound into it, and I am going to put a cab light in there and some figures in the not too distant future. The other thing to do is to get this working, because this is, just check the bulbs in this, because this isn't working correctly. This uses a push forward and backwards mechanism underneath the axle to operate the lights, but I'll have to take that apart, have a look at it. That should be straightforward. I'll put a capacitor in there as well, just to keep the lights going over. Yeah, to get into a dummy car, you just pull off the front again, like that. Same procedure. Pull off that, pull off the lower cowling, which is a bigger section on this. You get access to bulbs there, so that just clips out. In fact, it's not clipped in properly, so that probably explains why it's not working correctly. You've got to be careful not to break any lugs though when you're taking them out. You've got to be really careful. Yeah, on the dummy car you've got to pull the lug back slightly from here, and then it lifts up. 2 bulbs in there just drop in. So I'm going to put that back again correctly and then see whether or not it's going to work, which is really, again, it's really tricky. You've got to be very, very careful. There we go. The lugs have got to go below the 2 plastic. There's 2 plastic lugs at the front there that it's got to go below them. Then it just pushes. Or it should push into place, but it doesn't want to go. Have to be careful here. There we go. That's it. Clips into place perfect. Now the lights should work on that now. Yeah, they're still not working, so I think the terminals of the bulbs have oxidised slightly. So a bit of sandpaper and just rub across. May do the trick. Still no luck with this, so I'm going to test the bulbs by taking the bulbs. You take it out, metal slot there that holds the bulbs in, little piece of metal. But I'm also going to test the connection on the inside as well, so to get it out you've got to pull the body apart slightly. And then just be very careful not to cause any damage. Run along the plastic shims like that, which I've shown in the past. It's really, really tricky on these because they're such a tight fitting coach body system, and eventually it'll just pull out like that. You can check the wires then properly to make sure they're making contact with the electrical pickups from the wheels. I'll just check that over. Yeah, I keep forgetting this is an analog set, and of course even the dummy car's set up for analog control. On the digital one it had a special switch which moved forwards and backwards, which operated the lights to forward to reverse, but on this it just works off the which way the power flow is going, negative or positive on the motor. So, and plus there's also a broken wire here which explains, I never noticed, but it's all going to have to be stripped out anyway. I'm going to have to put a function decoder on this particular dummy coach, which will be the same address as the drive car, to operate the lighting correctly, because this will never work the way it's set up at the moment because it's for analog mode. So I'm going to leave it disconnected for now.